That's quite amazing, remarkable.
And the
35, that's an earlier, it's a 968 or a 944, but like a 968. Is that the Crago car? It may well be.
Looks like it.
Two Cragos sharing that one. And here's Charles Graham at the back.
Yeah, he's going to have to lap all of this, so it'll be interesting to keep an eye on this as the race leader laps more than 10 cars, dozen cars in this group, which will be lapping about 20 or so seconds slower than he. He's passed, what, 3, 4 of them by the time he gets to the hairpin pretty rapidly.
And the fastest lap of the race is a 2:04 from RJ Motorsport 3 very early in the race. That's the SR10, isn't it?
Each of these teams are spending as well.
In the very early days of the race, back in the 1950s, there were sort of teams of we called them, of course, now vintage Bentleys.
Yeah.
But in the early 50s, I suppose they were just over 20 years old, some of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Modern day sports cars don't so much
it's like looking at seeing a radical club sport today.
Yeah.
It's 20 years old or whatever.
Toyota Celica here. Which is 46B, which is a car driven by Sarah Hobson. There's a couple of free Celicas, I think, in that team. Yeah, you've got Ronan Richard Lundy and then Cuddy Brabin as well. So I think it's a team of 3 Toyota Celicas. And they are running in 49th position overall on scratch for 7 Motorsports.
That Derek Drinkwater is back out for 3B ARC Racing with the remarkable Chrysler Sears Special Le Mans, and it seems to have divested itself of the of the oil leak, which is something.
But it almost was joined by an MR2 there, though, in the middle of Club Corner.
It's like a sort of giant bedstead kind of turned in on the MR2, and the MR2 kind of, I think the driver. Good to see the Chryslers back out again. That really was quite something. We've had 2 1/4 54.
Yeah, we've got up-to-date unofficial handicap positions on your screen at the moment, which confirms the official results after 2 hours out there in the Mark II. We haven't seen him out all season.
And there's a Mark I behind it. Don't see too many of those these days.
I think that's the Gareth Baxter car that had that big moment at Stowe a bit earlier on. There's been about half a dozen or so in the MR2 Championship this year. Just behind they're just behind the Crago Porsche front engine car. And you've got the Toyota Celica behind.
And down at Birkett, the marshals were working overtime. That sort of omnipresent blue flag as great gaggles of cars descend on the complex of corners.
With this year there being so many production cars of similar speed, it must be quite difficult to work out who is lapping who and who needs the blue flags. Because like this group, Ryan Harper-Ellen, I think, at the moment, who's I think been a radical race winner. And they're a bit further down. Meanwhile, I think the lead car's made a pit stop because RJ Motorsport 3 have done a long lap, which means the lead gap's down to 40 seconds between 57 and 54. Onto the lead lap. They're 1 minute 46 behind the leader.
And the leader is now only 26 seconds clear of RJ Motorsport 1. Going very much quicker than those around him. The car running in the pale blue. Almost Fredo but racing colour.
Been out before. 2.5 hours in, as you say, so nearly halfway through this race now in terms of
Smart.
Well, it looks there as if he's trying to get alongside. He's not actually not though.
2.3 EcoBoost is the one that they put in Mustangs and things, isn't it? And which Oliver Bull uses at Castle Coombe in that the Tigra.
That's right, or used. So I don't think,
And that's the problem of having just a three-car team. It can bite you.
It doesn't give you much room for manoeuvre.
Two radicals in this group.
That 54 car that's in third position at the RJ Motorsport 1 squad, I mean, they are still 6 laps ahead of RJ Motorsport.
Sport Insurance, Birkett, 6 hours. The 7 winners was Hamish or Ewing.
Now back to lapping in normal lap times. I think the leading car 57 must have just made a pit stop because that's done a long lap. And it's the SR10 back out, so that's... Indeed, indeed, Lewis. While we're hearing from you, M&M race official handicap positions after 3 hours. You can see the unofficial ones on the screen at the moment, so we'll see how similar these are. I think that Carmel Port's Raging Speedhorn, the Racing's BMW Triers, and what you can see on screen now is the up-to-date handicap positions, and that's another 27 minutes, he said, because that clock.
So we've lost a couple of teams. The stricken Elise team has lost 2 of its cars. That at least has 1 left running, but they're right down the bottom of the survivors. We are coming up for 3.5 hours. Next time round we'll get to that. And how are those gaps looking? Well, attempts to land a 1, 2, 3 may require some external assistance, i.e. unreliability elsewhere. But the dark side team banged in that quickest personal lap, doing a grand job. 3 amigos are sort of gradually creeping up that handicap order, aren't they, Ian? So they're certainly not out of the equation.
Graham Seeger, Alpha 147 GTA, Graham, a long-time racer in the Alfa Romeo Championship.